I'll let you know when it connects. Hey everybody, Jennifer Green here, and the gentleman sitting next to me, or not sitting next to me, but I guess visually next to me is Brian Zabrock of Aspire Builders. He is one of our general contractors that we use on our homes. And we're going to be talking today about the residential construction market and what's going on with that during this pandemic. But first, for those of you who don't know me, again, my name is Jennifer Green. I go by Jen most of the time. I am one of the owners of Property House with my husband, Dan, and we help folks in situations who need help to sell their homes if they're looking to sell off market and just buy direct. If you're in foreclosure or going to be in foreclosure, if you inherit a home, if you're going through a bankruptcy, a divorce, need to sell your home, any of those situations, we're able to help you create a cash or term offer that's fair. I just wanted to, before we get into it with Brian and he introduces himself some, I read another article yesterday that was put out just talking about how confusing all of the forbearance stuff is. And I just wanted to give a quick update that, I mean, this article too sort of confused me in some ways, just because there were so many different things put out, like, oh, this one said, you know, a 90-day forbearance, when it's really, you know, like a 3-month forbearance, and 3 months is actually different than 90 days and 180 days. So I just want everybody to be sure to always contact your bank. That is the most important thing that you can do, and talk to them about the options that are available. Because again, there's so much confusion and so many things are not being very clear. Sorry about that noise. You guys hear it. It's them cleaning the leaves out in my yard. But so yeah, anyway, but just like I said, this article that I just read today is also going to be posted on our website, as always, www.propertyhousepartners.com, in our blog. And then also all of the videos that we do live on Facebook are always posted in our video library as well. So if you're not able to watch them live and would like to go back and rewatch, they're all posted there, so you don't have to thumb through my feed. So thanks again for joining us. And obviously next to me is Brian Zabrock of Aspire Builders. And Brian, would you like to do a quick intro of yourself and Aspire?
Sure, yeah, we're at one of our job sites here. We're a licensed general contractor out of the Little Canada area, and our main focus is on remodeling. Most of our remodels are kitchens, bathrooms, main level kind of remodels for a better flow of the floor plan. We do additions, decks, exterior work as well, but yeah, and then full house remodels, of course, working with you.
Well, you just answered my first question, so thanks.
Oh.
Well, you know, before we were talking and we got on today, you know, you had emailed me a while back when we were supposed to go on last week and said, you know what, things just really are kind of changing every single day. And so just, can you let the folks know that are watching, like, what have been some of the biggest changes that you've seen in the construction field amid, you know, the pandemic and COVID and everything?
Just the big thing with like COVID is trying to find what the guidelines are. There was a lot of confusion at first. So now that we've kind of got more guidelines from government and what we need to do, simple things of wearing masks, gloves, you know, keeping our distances, making sure the clients feel comfortable with we're in the house and they're in a separate area. For example, a basement remodel we're doing, make sure the guys come in through the back door, go down to the basement, and then we kind of section off the house, and then making sure the clients feel safe and comfortable with that. So, yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like, sorry, go ahead. Oh, did it? No, it didn't cut off. Okay, sorry, I was getting some feedback. Okay, do you feel like these changes have, you know, like affected your business at all, of how you guys are able to operate, or have you just been kind of working as best as you can to be accommodating to what's, you know, required now?
Well, initially we had probably like 2 jobs get put on hold just because the fear factor of not what's going on. But right now, I mean, work's been good. I mean, we've got 5 jobs going on right now, so I mean, I can't really complain. And we haven't really seen, we still get, I think this week alone, we've had 10 phone calls for people wanting work done. So it seems like things are going well. I don't know. I think the more that the education has gotten out there of, you know, what to do and how to keep social distancing in that, it helps. So.
Okay. So biggest concerns for your customers, would you say, has it more or less just been like people in their house or distancing, those kinds of things?
It kind of goes by age group too. Like if you're an older individual, you're more susceptible depending on like what your health concerns are. So that's kind of played a part too. If like, for instance, we had a kitchen remodel that got delayed because it was an older lady that just didn't feel comfortable with us being in the house. And so we just respected that and we'll wait and see what happens.
Okay. Have you gotten a lot more asks for outside work at all, or has it been just kind of the same mix as usual?
You know, the biggest niche that has kind of formed all this is basement remodels for that office at home, as well as decks, because people are spending more time outside and they have to work at home now. So they're trying to get more office space where it's actually insulated and kind of shields the noise from the kids and everybody that's home now. So we've seen more of a uptick in those kind of projects.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
You want to come over and do that for me?
you bet. We'll soundproof it. You won't hear anybody.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, yes, I've had little visitors quite a few times every time I've been doing these. So yeah, that would be nice.
Yes, I've been there. Yeah, yeah, and it's amazing, and so.
Well, good. So, I mean, in terms of like the crews that you have you had to lay anybody off? Have you had to hire more? What does that look like on your side for that?
You know, we actually haven't had to, had any issues. We had a couple slow weeks at the beginning of the year, but that's pretty typical for our industry. If anything, we've had word has gotten out with more subcontractors that have actually been contacting me about wanting to know if they can work with us because we pay our subs right away. We take care of them, and we work more as like a team than as individuals. So we've had a huge uptick in that as far as other subs calling us, hearing from our subs how we treat them. So
Well, that's good.
yeah.
Um, so have they been okay with like the 6 feet away thing and like any issues on that side for them at all?
Yep, wear masks, gloves, follow all the rules, and yeah, I mean, and if they're not comfortable with it, then we just don't work. It's kind of
Right.
how we work it with them. So
Right.
yeah.
Have you seen another thing I was kind of thinking about was in terms of pricing for things, because so many things were shut down and then there were essential businesses.
Yep.
Seen any of your construction costs like go up, down, stay the same? What is that looking like for you for materials?
Yes, we have seen prices go up on materials and that. One of the biggest things is more like delays have been happening because like manufacturing plants closing down or shutting down for a certain period. All of a sudden your product that you thought you were going to get is now delayed 2, 3, 4 weeks. And so now you're kind of trying to reschedule things. So it's been more problems with scheduling than anything. But as far as our pricing, materials that have gone up, but our labor prices, have still remained pretty much the same. So yeah.
So more or less just material prices somewhat, and then timelines, obviously, because supply chains are being sort of messed up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Have you seen any difference with like the big box stores versus like a family or like smaller run business with any of like materials and things like that, or does that not really matter?
I've seen probably the family run lumber yards and stuff like that have been better at quicker response is what I've seen. And also the fact that you can call in things a little easier and get materials delivered, whereas some of the bigger box stores, I don't know if you've been to any of them lately, they have like huge lines going outside them because they can only allow so many people into them. So that's been kind of that's been kind of hectic for us if we need like something quickly, or if we forgot, like, if we found like an unknown and need some material just to run to the store, it can take like an hour and a half because you're standing in line to get in. So
Yeah. So I guess when you're talking about these projects with folks and starting them over, are you just sort of like warning them like, hey, this is what our timeline is, but it could be affected by, X, Y, and Z. Here's my material costs right now, but they could be changed based on X, Y, or Z. Is that kind of how it's working for you?
yep. Yeah, we kind of give them a ballpark timeline, but we say, things right now can be affected by inspections, and also vendors and suppliers, just because sometimes they're running into problems where they can't give us an exact date when they're going to have the materials
Right.
or when the inspector is going to be out.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of led to my next question in terms of, city, then like what the city's doing with like permitting or inspecting, like what's that looking like? You had kind of mentioned before, before we got on to what was going on with that. So can you elaborate on that some?
Yeah, so a lot of the cities are going to more online inspections, which has been kind of nice. I prefer it. It's nice when you can just upload the plans and I know for like the city of Minneapolis, we had to drive down, drop off actual floor plans for them to look at, but then everything else was done online. And then all your appointments and everything are just sending in emails or texting or phone calls. And I don't know, I actually like it. It's been nice to get more online stuff going. So we actually preferred it.
Have you in terms of even like inspections and stuff, they're taking pictures right now instead of actually physically coming out? Is that what's happening?
It depends on the inspector. So every inspector does it a little differently, and it also depends on the job. Like some jobs require more on-site inspections, but if it's a smaller job, we've had a couple where the inspectors just like send me some photos and then you're clear, and then he gives us the okay. Yep, everything looks good. Keep moving. So that's nice on like the smaller jobs because then it doesn't slow everything down. You can just take some photos, send it to them right from your phone, and then they just respond back to you. Yep, looks good. Keep going. So that's been kind of nice.
Yeah, and you haven't run into that at all in terms of the picture stuff or anything?
I'm sorry, it broke up.
Oh, no worries. I said you haven't run into any issues with, like pictures or any of that kind. It's been pretty smooth for you.
So far, yeah. So far, it's been smooth.
That's great. Yeah. Okay. Have you been like talking to other contractors out? Like, has anyone else been having issues or, outside of you? Because it seems like you haven't really been affected much. Do you feel like there's anybody else out there that you've heard of that's been affected by it?
I would say the people who are most affected are maybe people who don't have a system in place. But most of the contractors I've talked to who have a system in place that they use in a daily routine, they're busy just like me. And I think if you have a good reputation, word of mouth and referrals and repeat clients has just kind of kept all of us pretty busy right now. So yeah.
Can you talk to me more about the system that you were talking about? Because systems, to me, I love systems. So what kind of system are you talking about?
Well, having a client management system on your computer to keep communication lines open, make sure that they're being followed up with, making sure that they're not getting lost in the day-to-day activities. I know that's one of our big things with clients is they love that our communication is good, our scheduling, staying on time and on budget are the three key things that they really like about us. So I think that kind of is the biggest thing with having a system. And actually, when you meet with them at the beginning, actually going through what are the next steps and what's going to happen after we, sign the contract and move forward. And that really kind of helps them keep at ease. So.
Well, awesome. I know you guys have a website, like some before and after pictures. Would you like to share that with everybody on here so they can take a look at your website and see some of the work you guys do?
Just the website address?
Yeah.
Yeah, the website address is aspirebuildersmn.com. That's ASPIRE buildersmn.com.
And then what's the best number to reach you guys?
Best number is 651-482-0444 or 612-210-3080.
Cool. Brian, any like parting words for folks who are, looking to do some work right now, maybe a good way for them to search for people that know they're going to do a good, that are like of contractors that'll do a good job? Like, what are some pointers for people when they're looking for someone to do work on their house right now?
I think the biggest thing is look at their, ask questions, like what's their background? There's a lot of guys who just pounded nails for 10 years and now want to be contractors. Whereas myself, I was an architectural engineer before this. I spent years working for subs and other contractors, learning the trades. So I think having that background really helps to see a lot of unknowns that might happen in a project. Whereas if you don't have that experience, you can't really bid a project appropriately because you don't know what the unknowns might be. And so that saves my clients a lot of money, is just by showing things in their house, like there might be an unknown with this load bearing wall or situation like that. So the biggest thing is just keep asking questions and try to learn more about their background. So
Yeah, I asked you questions, didn't I?
you what's that?
I said I asked you lots of questions, didn't I?
Oh yeah, you grilled me pretty heavily there. I think I did okay though.
You did. Well, you're on here with me today, and you're doing jobs for us. So yeah, consider yourself lucky.
Yep. Yes.
Well, I
thank you.
appreciate it, Brian. There it is, guys. I mean, again, it's one of those things. People who are working right now are the good contractors, and those are the people that you can trust to get the work done in your house, get it done safely. Things obviously are still going through the city. I think the biggest things for people to be concerned about right now is just cost of materials and your timeline. Those are the two biggest things that are going to be affected right now with COVID. I know the governor is on live right now. I have no idea what he's saying, but I assume maybe it's going to be talking about if we're going to be shut down after Monday still. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Thank you, Brian, for joining me. I appreciate it. That was some really good insight into what's happening. And next week, my plan, what I would love to do is go over to the new house that we have in St. Paul that I took you guys through last week, and just kind of give you an update of where we are on the project. And then also maybe talk about some DIY renovation stuff if you are not able to do construction in your home, or just want to do a few things before you put your home on the market, or if you're just sort of looking for some projects to do while you're at home now. So join us next week. Thanks guys so much. Have a beautiful and wonderful weekend. The weather is supposed to be really great, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.